I am Malaya, and I'm speaking to you directly from the heart of the Philippines. Listen to me very carefully, because what I'm about to say will offend the sensitive, but it will save the smart. Stop trying to perform like a 25-year-old Olympic athlete. Just stop it. If a young, vibrant Filipina wanted a boy with endless physical stamina and a bank account as empty as his life experience, she would be with the local tricycle driver right now. She didn't choose him. She chose you, specifically for your age and the stability that comes with it. But here is the brutal, cold truth that my sisters will never tell you to your face. If you don't understand the golden rule of how we Filipino women actually view closeness and intimacy, you will never be the man she truly desires. Without this one secret, you are nothing more than a walking ATM in her eyes, a temporary financial utility with a rapidly approaching expiration date. You are bleeding your hard-earned retirement and your dignity on a performance she isn't even looking for. Today, I am revealing the singular cultural shift that transforms a cold, calculated transaction into fierce, genuine loyalty. I'm going to show you exactly how to stop being the sponsor she merely tolerates and start being the king she actually fears losing. Your future happiness and your bank account depend on the next few minutes. Don't move. Look, I know the dream you sold yourself on the plane ride over. You saw the postcards of white sand, the filtered photos on dating apps, and those profiles promising eternal devotion to a man they've never even met. It's a beautiful lie, isn't it? But here in the Philippines, survival is the first language we learn. And for many of my sisters, those apps aren't for finding a soulmate, they are for finding a career. To them, you aren't a person yet. You are a project. They have perfected the art of the sad eyes and the sick grandmother story to see exactly how much juice they can squeeze from your lemon before you realize the fruit is bitter. And listen to me, I don't blame you for falling for it. Not for a second. Back in your home country, you've been treated like a piece of expired machinery. You've been told you're too old, too traditional, or simply invisible. You spent 40 years working yourself to the bone, building a legacy, only to be told by the modern world that your value has plummeted. You came here seeking a single drop of water in a desert of loneliness, and when a beautiful, young girl offers you a gallon, you don't stop to ask if the water is poisoned. You just drink. I understand the ache of wanting to feel that spark again, to feel the genuine heat of a young woman's skin against yours, without the shadow of judgment or age-appropriate lectures. You are an honorable man who deserves to reap the harvest of his hard work. But you've been playing a game where the rules were written in a language you don't speak, and the house always wins. You're tired of the charade, aren't you? You're tired of wondering if she's smiling at you or just at the digits in your bank account. Take a deep breath. You're safe now. I'm going to bridge that gap for you and give you the real coordinates to her loyalty so you can finally stop being a customer and start being the man she actually loses sleep over. To truly understand why you are currently failing to connect with your Filipina on a level that goes beyond your wallet, you need to understand the difference between a thunderstorm and a harana. You see, most Western men arrive here like a sudden summer thunderstorm. You are loud, you are fast, and you want to pour all your energy out in one intense, fleeting moment. You think that by being powerful and direct for 20 minutes, you fulfilled your role. But in our culture, a thunderstorm is just a temporary disturbance. It's messy, it's noisy, and it's over quickly, leaving the woman simply waiting for the clouds to clear so she can go back to her real life. It's a physical event, not an emotional one. Now, contrast that with the Harana. This is our traditional serenade, and it is the heartbeat of Filipino romance. In the old days, a man didn't just kick the door down. He stood outside her window in the humid night air with a guitar. The music started long before the door ever opened. The climax wasn't the point. The rhythm, the patience, and the respect were. The Harana is about the melody of the entire day, not just the noise of the night. If you want her to stop looking at her phone and start looking at you with genuine hunger, you have to stop being the storm and start being the singer. You are currently trying to buy the finished album, but she is waiting for you to learn the lyrics. This isn't just about being nice, it's about a total shift in your tempo. And I'm about to tell you exactly how to start that music at 8 a.m. so that by 8 p.m., she is the one chasing you. But first, we have to talk about the most powerful word in our vocabulary. A word that doesn't even exist in English, but determines if you are a king or just a customer. Now, let's get into the mechanics of the game you are actually playing. You've been looking for the on button in the wrong place, thinking it's a physical switch you can just flip when the lights go down. It isn't. In the Philippines, the engine starts in the kitchen at sunrise, not in the bedroom at midnight. If you want to stop being a client and start being the man she genuinely craves, you must master the 3 hidden rules of our cultural software. The first rule is the concept of lambing. In your Western world, you might call it affection or forehead kisses, but lambing is much deeper. It is the tactical use of sweetness to create a debt of loyalty. To a Filipina, physical closeness is 90% lambing and only 10% the actual midnight dance. If you skip the sweetness during the day, she will view the midnight dance as a chore, a job she has to finish so she can go back to sleep. My sisters are experts at performing for you, but you don't want a performance, do you? You want the real fire. Here is the hidden truth. When you ignore her all day, staring at your laptop or complaining about the heat, and then expect her to be ready the moment you want to taste the ripe mango, she feels like a worker punching a time card. She thinks, he only wants me for my body, so I will only want him for his wallet. It becomes a cold trade. I see this all the time. A 65-year-old man takes his beautiful young Filipina to a nice dinner, sits there in silence, doesn't hold her hand, doesn't tell her she looks maganda, and then wonders why she has a headache later. If you want her to be the one pulling you toward the secret garden, your work starts at breakfast. A gentle touch on the shoulder while she's cooking rice, a genuine thank you for the small things, and a how was your day that actually waits for an answer. When you provide lambing all day, you aren't just being a nice guy, you are priming the pump. You are making her feel safe enough to be vulnerable. If you are a gentle provider in the sunlight, she will be a devoted partner in the dark. It's that simple. This leads us to the second rule, and this one is the most misunderstood by foreign men. Security equals sensation. A Filipina's drive is directly hardwired to her sense of safety. You must understand that survival is our first language. If she is sitting next to you, but her mind is worried about her expiring visa, the rent for her mother's house, or whether there is enough rice in the bin for next week, her internal engine is physically incapable of turning on. The hidden truth is that peace of mind is the greatest aphrodisiac in the Philippines. When she is stressed about survival, her body goes into economy mode. She can't focus on watering the garden with you Because she's worried the garden is about to be seized by the bank. I've seen men call their Filipina cold or boring, when the reality is she is just terrified about her future. If you want her to be fully present when you are testing the suspension of your bed, you have to clear the check engine lights in her brain first. By the way, if you find these cultural blueprints useful and you want to dive even deeper into the stuff that YouTube censors would never let me say out loud, you need to join my private SafeMap newsletter. It's where I share the specific cultural triggers and the red flag warnings that keep your retirement and your heart protected. The link is right below this video. It's free, it's honest, and it's for men who are tired of being projects. Now, back to the rules. The third rule is what I call the vintage quality reframe. Stop apologizing for being over 60. Stop acting like your age is a defect you have to compensate for by buying her more jewelry or using blue pills as your only strategy. To a young Filipina, the local boys her age are often isip bata, which means child-minded. They are impulsive, they are unstable, and they have no plan for tomorrow. The hidden truth is that a high-value Filipina views a mature man like vintage wine. You are higher quality, you are steady, and you are the rock in the middle of her chaotic world. She doesn't want you to act like a 25-year-old athlete. She wants the authority and the experienced presence that only comes with your decades of life. When you try to act young, you actually lose your power. You look desperate. The most common mistake I see is a man trying to buy attraction with expensive gifts because he thinks his vintage body isn't enough. Don't do that. Lead with your maturity. Be the man who makes decisions, the man who stays calm when things go wrong, and the man who doesn't need to beg for attention. When you act like the prize, she will treat you like one. Your steadiness is what makes her feel warm inside. But listen, even if you master lambing, security, and your vintage authority, there is one trap that will destroy everything in a single second. It is the game ender, and it happens in public more than you think. It is the bridge between being a king and being a customer, and it all comes down to a single word that Westerners always forget. We are going to talk about that golden rule right now, because if you break it, you will never see that fierce loyalty I promised you. But here is the pivot point where most of you fall off the cliff. You've been taking notes on lambing and financial security, thinking you finally cracked the code to her heart and her bed. You think that if you follow the steps, she owes you the climax you've been dreaming of. But here is the cold, hard plot twist that my sisters will never admit. The golden rule of intimacy has absolutely nothing to do with what happens under the sheets. It has everything to do with her dignity. You see, the biggest scammer in this relationship isn't always the girl. It's often your own ego. You think that because you have the bank account and the vintage status, you can treat her like a beautiful piece of luggage you picked up at the airport. You ignore her in public. You don't introduce her to your friends with pride, or worse, you talk down to her like a child in front of her family. You think your money buys her silence and her passion. It doesn't. It only buys her performance. The truth is brutal. If you make a Filipina feel like a worker or a bought object in the light of day, she will turn into a block of ice the moment the lights go out. She will protect her soul by closing her heart to you, even if she stays for the rice. The real golden rule is this: public respect leads to private passion. If you treat her like a queen at the local market, if you hold her hand with genuine pride in front of the world, She will move mountains to treat you like a king behind closed doors. Dignity is the currency of her desire. If you spend it recklessly, you'll end up with a house full of furniture and a bed full of loneliness. Choose wisely. I know I've been hard on you today. I've pulled back the curtain and shown you the shadows, the traps, and the cold mechanics of survival. You might be sitting there wondering if a genuine connection is even possible, or if it's all just a complex game of chess. Listen to me and let this sink into your soul. Yes, it is more than possible. Despite the noise, the Philippines remains the last true paradise for a man with a good heart. For every girl looking for a shortcut, there are 10,000 women, loyal, traditional, and deeply affectionate, who are praying every night for a man exactly like you. You are not past your prime. You are at your absolute peak. Your 60 years aren't a burden. They are your crown. You have the stability, the wisdom, and the calm authority that impulsive boys in their 20s simply cannot offer. To a woman who has spent her life in survival mode, your maturity isn't just attractive. It is the sanctuary she has been searching for. Now that you know where the holes in the road are, you can finally drive with confidence. You aren't a victim anymore. You are an informed king ready to find his true queen. You've worked hard your whole life, and the harvest is finally ready. Stay patient, stay smart, and remember, you are exactly what she's been waiting for. So, here is my final question for you. Have you ever felt that sudden, icy coldness from a woman after you thought you were being generous? Or did you realize, too late, that you skipped the Harana rhythm entirely? Tell me your story in the comments below. I read every single one. My mission here is simple: to make the world a little less lonely, and to ensure that honorable men like you find the genuine loyalty you've earned. If my words saved your dignity or your retirement, consider sending a small pasalubong to your digital guide. It helps me keep this channel going, and maybe grab a bucket of Jollibee Chicken Joy for the family this weekend. I'm Malaya, and I'm in your corner. Until next time, stay smart, stay respected, and keep your eyes wide open. Salamat, and good luck.